Welcome to the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon, where we talk about fishing and life. Presented by Tuckasegee Fly Shop with 3 locations in Waynesville, Silva, and Bryson City. And if you can't make it there or need something fast, be sure to visit flyshopusa.com. If you're looking to experience Western North Carolina waters with or without a guide, visit tuckflyshop.com or one of our locations for more information on booking, the waters we fish, and current conditions.
Man, oh man,
Oh, it's happening, Bobby.
it's tough to get on the mic at a fly show.
We are set up recording live at the Buckeye United Fly Fishing Expo in Loveland, Ohio, just northeast of Cincinnati downtown. And this is such a great show. I think if you're within, a handful of hours drive of this, it's worth coming. So George Daniels headlining it. Lots of great demonstrations going on. And these people in the Buckeye chapter, as well as Northern Kentucky, all around, they're just good people. So
Fun to hang out with.
excited to be here. So
Yeah. So if we get a little slowdown in the booth, Justin will hop on with us, but he's having to help some of the
the booth
the show goers.
George Daniel is currently doing a presentation, and the booth is busy. So
I went and looked at that room though; it's packed.
It's filling
He's
up.
got a lot of people in there to listen to him. So
the thing to count is going to be how many people fall asleep in his presentation versus my presentation when I was a headliner. So I counted 6.
yeah,
It might have been 8, but maybe, I don't know, maybe the guy was just looking down or praying. Maybe he was praying for me.
that's probably praying for it to be over.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to be that guy that walks out.
But I mean, you do put about 200 people in that presentation room. Like it's pretty impressive. So, but fun stuff. It is in the fly fishing industry, what's referred to as show season. So, it's kind of what you do in the wintertime in the fly fishing industry is, you hit the road. So, you got several ways to do this. What other shows we got going on in the country, Bobby?
You got the fly fishing show, which travels all over. I mean, it goes to, I guess,
The fly fishing.
You gotta say the. It's like saying the Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
I mean, I know they do the New Jersey show, the Atlanta show, the Denver show.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another one. Is it West Coast?
Edison?
Like Portland?
Oh, California.
Is it California? That's it. Yeah. So I think they do 4.
I
They
don't
might
worry-
even have one more.
I don't worry about what town that one is in California.
Yeah, currently, actually, the Atlanta show is going on while we're here, which I know probably people are like, why didn't y'all go to the Atlanta show? We get a lot of folks up from Atlanta, and we love them.
Yes.
But we get a lot of folks from Cincinnati, so we just kind of pick and choose which way to roll. But
all the shops are open.
yeah, they're still open, which is awesome. So at least we think they are.
They should be looking at the clock.
Hope everybody showed up.
It's still a great weekend to fish back home.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we're supposed to be 50 or 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, absolutely.
February's here, so the fishing kind of turns and starts to change. So, exciting things happening there as well. But what we thought today, guys, is we're going to kind of talk about these shows, the value in them, the purpose of them. They're our opinions; they may not be shared opinions. But yeah, we'll see if we can make the best of it, and probably put up a few podcasts from today. Hopefully,
yeah. Hopefully, we'll get a couple more in. We'll see who we can get on. I was hoping to get somebody from the show to talk to us, and then if George Daniel's not too busy, he said he'd try to hook up and do one. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? This may be the only one we get in. It might be so busy we won't get any more.
Yes.
But even this one, it may be a quicker one than normal just because of that.
Yep, that's right.
But we'll see. But we had a good time. It was a good trip up yesterday.
Man, that's part of the fun for us as a shop, hitting the road. When we get out of Western North Carolina, it's like we get the big eye syndrome, where it's like, oh man, what's that?
There's more.
There's
more out here.
lights, like shiny lights and attractions, Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's is great.
Yeah, the drive up yesterday, coming up I-75, was pretty fun. So we pulled a 6x12 U-Haul trailer, or I should say trailer. I don't want to necessarily plug U-Haul. I guess anyway, there's not many other trailer rentals out there, but Yeah, it was Tennessee. Hey, if anybody at Tennessee Tennessee Department of Transportation is listening,
I was wondering what you're talking about.
please fill in some of those potholes. I just had a realignment done on my truck Thursday, and then drive through Tennessee, and I got to have a realignment done on my truck Monday. So we hit one, and it was kind of short notice. Didn't have time to kind of get out of the way of it, and we're pretty sure stuff in the trailer hit the roof.
That trailer bounced.
It bounced. The truck bounced. Like I never saw the bottom of that pothole. So, yeah, when we got to Kentucky, man, the roads are so good. So,
it was a difference, that's for sure.
But I think the fun, most adventurous thing yesterday, besides driving I-75, was seeing how far we could go on gasoline before we could get to Buc-ee's. Can we make it to Buc-ee's on one tank?
And we would have ran out, I think.
I think so too.
My opinion.
So, you've got everybody's probably done. I'm the guy I run my gas tank down. Normally, if I'm traveling, I'll keep it at a quarter and fill up. But, it looks like the first half of the trip, we got plenty of gas to make it to Buc-ee's, which is just south of Lexington, right? Just south of town.
Richmond, Kentucky, I believe is where it's at.
I think it's just south of Lexington. And so, we're doing the math. We're on the plus side of the mileage, and we're doing pretty good. And then as we get closer, all right, it's 80 miles out. I got 100 miles left on the tank. And then, we're 60 miles out. I got 70 miles left on the tank. And then we started getting closer and closer to a zero sum.
Yeah, the cushion we had, it finally went negative.
It was erasing. Yeah, and then we got upside down on it, and it was like, okay, maybe we should stop.
I think the last thing we saw was 7, and we had 19 miles to go.
Well, yeah, and then my car just said, it didn't give me mileage anymore. It just said refuel.
That's when you know you're messed up.
There's Justin.
I'm back.
Justin's back.
I'm here.
So, so we pull into somewhere off some exit and throw in like a gallon and a half, like $5 worth of gas. And
only because Buc-ee's is cheaper.
Oh yeah, I mean
the gas is.
And we're like,
I love this. This
just
is so
enough
funny.
to get to this. So I pump a gallon and a half. We're like, all right, how big's your tank? How far can you go past zero when it says zero? There's always like a little cushion, right? So we finally get to the very next exit. That's how close this was, folks. We get to the next exit, and it's Buc-ee's. We pull over, and we get in a gas pump. We fill up. I pumped in what's supposed to be a 19-gallon tank, 21 gallons. And we just put a gallon and a half in. Now, obviously, part of that gallon, we're towing a trailer, 6x12, and it's got, merchandise, tables, and stuff in it. And obviously, we're not getting the same mileage that we normally would. So I put 21 in it plus a gallon and a half. So I'm pretty certain we would not. This is the conclusion we've all come. We would not have made it to Buc-ee's on that first tank.
No, definitely not.
But at least it wouldn't have been a far walk.
No.
Adam said he was going to walk too.
I had my walking shoes on. I was ready.
Hey, and one thing you can guarantee, I guarantee Buc-ee's had gas cans. I didn't look, but I guarantee they have them.
Man, they have everything.
They have it all, man.
Oh my gosh.
It's a Walmart Cracker Barrel that had a pilot gas station for a kid. Like
with no dining area.
Yeah, that's what Buc-ee's is.
So we noticed there's nowhere to eat your food, so we just sat in the car. And
you can get that fresh cut brisket, but you got to go.
Yes, get out the stove.
What do they say? 1, 2, 3, 4 brisket on the floor.
Yeah. They're screaming that.
Yeah,
which is good.
Buc-ee's is an experience.
Yeah, if you've never been to a Buc-ee's on a travel, which they're not in that many states. What are they in? 5, 6 states, I guess maybe. Texas, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee.
So I heard from
Georgia,
but it's
South Carolina.
Let me ask you guys this. This gets a little more philosophical business question. Is supporting Buc-ee's any different than supporting Bass Pro Shops?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's any different?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I will say like how Buc-ee's like set their business up. I don't know about now, but I know like their original plan when they started, I read this somewhere, it was to run like on the main arteries, like the main interstate, like around like the South, like 95, and some of these main interstates. Yeah.
Well, that's what they're doing.
But,
happening.
They're technically like a big box store.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're a big box store for gas. So they're putting mom and pop gas stations out of business is the sad part of that. So,
right.
So yeah, that was, we hit the road from Buc-ee's and came on up. Traffic was really smooth coming into town. So got in. The folks here help us set the booth up. It's wonderful. So we got that done quick, and then it was time for the main event. when we come up to this show, we always try to hit Top Golf. So we scooted over to the kind of the northwest side of Cincinnati and went to swing a few clubs. And man, that's such a good time.
It was the main event too. I'm still feeling the event. So
Man,
I don't swing too many golf clubs, and gosh,
I'm still limping.
you just said a few minutes ago that you're all warmed up, ready to go back.
Yeah,
you're limber.
I'm warmed up, but I've got a little bit of a limp still. I feel it.
A limp from hitting golf balls.
Yeah.
Man, you know you're getting old when
I laid down last night. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's tough. So, but today Dale had the idea of talking about fly shows.
Okay.
What goes into them? Maybe we can even get into how we view them from our side of things. But what's the benefit of them? What's the negative of them? Whatever it may be. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. And like I said, this may be a shortened version of a podcast. I don't know if we'll quite get an hour out of this one, just because we have to work the booth while we're here a little bit. But that's kind of the idea of what we're going to talk about. And we actually got a little different format for the podcast here, so you guys have to get used to this. We becoming marketers.
New intro, new outro.
Yeah. You probably noticed the new intro.
Just freshening some things up.
So we're gonna have break periods like every 10 to 15 minutes, and play some ads for us because it's our podcast.
Brought to you by us.
Brought to you by us. So we're gonna do one of those, and then we'll come back and talk about the topic.
I don't know about y'all, but I am ready to make up for some missed travel. If you find yourself wanting to expand your list of places fished, be sure to consider fly fishing travel with Tuck Fly Shop. Travel with Tuck Fly Shop connects you with one of our guides to the world. We currently have spots remaining on our Montana trip for August 13th through the 19th, 2023. Future destinations include Argentina and Slovenia. Tuck Fly Shop Travel is connecting you to your next adventure.
Man, Dale, you sound good.
There we go. You can tell that was in the shop and not here.
Yeah.
I can hear the people now.
The background. Hopefully this thing will burn some of that out and you won't hear as much background noise.
Somebody talking to the kayak people.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you. Am I on?
Yeah.
You're on? Yeah.
Okay,
Do I need to turn up your ears?
Yeah, can you turn my ears up a little bit?
That sounds like I got some hearing aids. That's what Madeline's
That
had
better?
today.
Yeah.
39 years
Thank you.
with hearing aids. Ha! I said, yeah, man, get used to
Yeah.
it.
I think you could have a good career in voiceover, Dale.
Yeah.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Get a side hustle going.
Yeah. Man.
So fly shows.
Fly shows.
So there's a ton of this probably goes for any industry. It's maybe not just fly fishing, but specifically fly fishing for us. I think there's goods and bads of both of them, for the consumer and for us, right?
For sure.
Like the value. What's
the value? Whatever it is,
What are you
$15
looking
to
to get
get
out of it?
in, $10 to get in. I know some of them do like multi-day passes if it's a multi-day show.
Right.
Yeah.
Things like that. So, I mean, what's your first initial thoughts on them from a consumer standpoint? Either one of you.
From a consumer standpoint, before I started working in the industry, I went to a bunch of the different shows like in Asheville, Atlanta, different places like that. And looking for knowledge, I liked it. Maybe you're used to going to the same couple shops, and some of the new shops have different gear, different rods, different reels, things like that. So you can kind of get your hands on different gear. But yeah, from the consumer side of it, I think they're fun. I like trade shows, for any other thing too, like guns and stuff like that too. So
No, that's definitely valid. I think we all have to go back to when we were on the consumer side of things, on the other side of the counter. And that's the perspective we always try to keep with the shop and customer service. So I remember going to some shows like the Dixie Deer Classic over there in Raleigh, or the NC State Fairgrounds, the Fly Show when it was in Winston-Salem or Charlotte. It's always fun to go to. But it is like you mentioned it, Justin, learning, like right now, George Daniels speaking, sharing his knowledge. And he's in there in his presentation sharing knowledge, but there's booths all over the place here sharing knowledge.
yeah.
And you don't have to buy a thing.
Well,
that's you buy a ticket to get in.
Yeah, a ticket to get in, but
there's people in here, they're eager to talk to you. I've had folks come up to me, hey, I'm new, I'm just getting into the sport. Man, we love to hear that. We love the opportunity to help people get into the sport. So that means they're here to learn.
Yeah.
And just a clean slate. There's no bad habits. So
yeah.
I think that's value certainly for the consumer. What do you think, Bobby?
I mean, I think I echo both of what both of you said. You know, from the gear side of it and the educational side. I think the educational side probably has a bigger impact, especially for the newer fly fishing people. You know, getting to go to multiple speakers in one day, or fly tying demonstrations, or being able to cast rods. Those are probably some of the educational stuff. If there's a speaker on a pond that's actually doing a casting demonstration, to kind of see the different casts, because a lot of people just kind of have that fantasy of, you know, you just cast it, and it's a dead straight cast. But you know, you've got all the different casts that you can do. Hence the name of the podcast, Tuck Cast. That's an actual cast.
Yep. Yep.
So, you know, being able to see people do stuff, I think it encourages you to go, wow, I can't do that right now, but it encourages you to go practice casting, to be like, man, I want to be able to cast like whoever it is that you see on the pond doing it. And then, like you said, people in the classroom, you know, I always think it's a good idea, bring a notebook with you, because you're probably going to take some notes. Like there's a ton of info and a lot of knowledge at these shows that kind of goes without, you know, getting recorded. You kind of go, man, what'd that guy say?
That's right.
Or what did they say in that talk? So it's good to kind of have that where you can jot down some notes or what you're looking for. So, you know, if you're picking a fly show to go to, definitely kind of look at the speaker outline and see if it's topics that you're interested in. Whether it's, you know, somebody talking about travel to a certain destinations in their home waters, or what it might be, or somebody talking about a specific style of fly fishing. You know, there's tons of it. And the fly tying, especially at this show, the fly tying demonstrations here are incredible. They do a really good job with that setup.
They've got the right AV equipment to do it.
Yeah. So they've got a close-up camera on the fly while they're tying. They let you ask questions while they're tying the fly. Like, it's really well done. So I think from that aspect, that's probably the biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Getting to touch gear and stuff also is. I mean, that's a fabulous way to, like Justin said, see multiple brands and things like that. So it's definitely, and some of the bigger ones, like the Fly Fishing Show, sometimes the vendors show up. So it's actually people from Sims or people from
You've
Orbis.
got the executives from Sims and Orbis that are there.
You know, fish pond people, stuff like that. So there's that benefit too, where you can kind of give some feedback to them if you happen upon them about, hey, I love this product or I hate this product. You know, I had problems with this product. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, let me take down your name, and man, you'll be surprised what they'll do for you.
Right.
So it's kind of, you know, a lot of things come out of it from the consumer standpoint. The downside probably is it can be busy. There can be a lot of people at these things.
Yeah, for sure.
So expect crowds.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. Sometimes these aisles get super full and packed, so you just kind of got to wait your turn, you know?
Yep.
But that's part of going out to anything in public, I guess. That's a popular, you know, sport or hobby.
Well, you know, you think, look at these things as any craft has professional development. And these are certainly opportunities for professional development in fly fishing as a consumer. I worked with Coach Brown at Thomasville, and we all went with him to many football clinics across the region. And a lot of time he was more knowledgeable than the guys talking, for sure. And his record would show that. But you know, there might be one thing you learn from it,
right,
that you can take back, and that one thing might, to us, been the difference in winning or losing a football game.
Yeah.
So pull that into fly fishing. You might hear one new way to tie on a dry dropper, one new method, and I tell you, the sights. I just saw something. The sights of these shows can be funny. I just saw a gent walking around. He's purchased a net here at the show from someone, a hand net, and he's got it tucked in his back belt. He's just walking around.
Hey, man.
Like that's awesome. That like, it's like you don't see guys, and it's not like Comic-Con. You got people dressed up, but
we should have totally dressed ourselves up for today.
Where the waiters? No,
I'd have been hot,
sweating.
Dude,
sweating.
I'm sweating now.
But you know, the knowledge you get in a presentation or talking with somebody, or the gear you pick up, could be the difference in whether you land that trophy or achieve that angling goal that you've set for the year.
Yeah.
So
it don't matter how long you've been in, like, any hobby, industry, whatever. There's always something new to learn.
Yeah. And the cool thing is there's not just casting and equipment and knowledge. Man, there's people here that are building rods, and they've got their setup over there showing you how they build a rod. Like they're actually doing it.
Furled leaders too.
Furled leaders.
Yeah.
You get the wildlife agencies at this thing. So if you live in the state that the show's at, man, it's a great time to talk to some of the wildlife people.
Yeah.
Or whatever your state calls them. In our state, it's called the wildlife. So it's, beneficial to kind of just walk around. There's tons of organizations that you can sign up for, whether it's a Trout Unlimited or an FFI or the people here. It's actually a trout club that's putting on this show.
Yeah.
So it gives you an opportunity to get deeper into the sport outside of the actual purpose of the show. You can do things that expand off the show and getting in touch with some of these groups and becoming members or
That's right.
or volunteering or anything like that to kind of help the entire sport grow, which is cool. So
And I think this show does a great job of having a fantastic regional. And that's kind of a difference maybe of the Fly Show versus some of these regional shows. You get a great representation of those regional nonprofits, the regional cottage industry, if you will, the guy making the rod out of his garage. It's fantastic. I'm sure if you go to one in Idaho or one in Michigan, it's going to be different.
yeah, absolutely.
But I do feel like the Fly Show is more of a cookie cutter approach, where you've got vendors signing up for maybe all the shows on the East Coast or even all 6 of them, and it's just going to be a cookie cutter approach, and you might not have as much of a regional presence or footprint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if the Fly Show was in Cincinnati, you may not see as much of the various little Miami
and it's not a knock on some of the bigger fly shows, but the cost. Some of the fly shows for people with booths, the vendors and the fly shops and the guide services and stuff like that. It's an expensive show because they do draw. It's I guess you call it the major league, right? It's
like the headline tour, like around the country for the gear.
So it just costs more. So
they're usually in cities too, where
they're in larger metropolitan areas. So
where price per square foot is
the building costs more for them to rent, so it's going to cost more for us to rent a 10x10 booth or whatever you get for the show. So that keeps some of the smaller guys out. Some of the people that just have like a little rod building company or something like that. Like they're not going to go to stuff like that. So that regional approach is important.
Like for the Tuckasegee Trout Unlimited, it's not feasible to have a booth at the fly fishing show in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly cost prohibitive.
The annual budget doesn't support that.
No, it doesn't. And also besides the cost of the square footage that you're buying is your ancillary process purchases. So your food, Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't getting Buc-ee's. You ain't getting out of Buc-ee's too cheap. And then you've got your dinners,
your gas, your hotel,
Top Golf,
all that stuff, man. Yeah, just some Top Golf thrown in there.
Yeah,
a little fun.
Cocktail hour, whatever, to with networking with colleagues. And that is actually one thing, kind of aside from the cost. Maybe we can talk about it next. Is the networking that can happen within the industry. So but the costs are it adds up. So
it does. I mean, these banners that everybody usually sets up in the booth, like
the marketing is not
you start spending $150, $200, $300, $500, $1,000 for a booth setup. Like it adds up pretty quick.
And all this stuff is, I mean, this is all marketing, right? Like this is an opportunity to take our fly shop and put it in front of other faces that might not take 5 to 6 hours to drive to see us.
Yeah.
So,
but it's cool to see people that have been to our fly shop that they come up to the booth and they're like, "Hey, I saw you in Waynesville."
Yeah,
like I just saw that happen to Justin a little while ago. A guy came up and said, "I bought something from you."
Yeah, I'm the new guy, and people are coming up to me.
Yeah. It's like I saw you in the shop. So it's cool to see new faces, but it's nice to see some of the old ones that visit us. At least once a year, or sometimes every couple of years we see them. So it's nice to hang out with some of those folks and see them. But that's probably the biggest negative for us is just the cost. Keep that in mind that everybody in here that's got one of these booths had to spend quite a bit of money to be here. So it's nice, even if you don't buy something, come by and talk to them. Take a business card, show them some respect,
hand sanitizer,
some hand sanitizer, all that good stuff. I think that just it gives them more purpose to come back next year.
That's right.
So you got to kind of keep that in mind. If you want these shows to keep going, you kind of got to support them, not just by buying a ticket through the door, but at least coming in and getting some business cards, spending some money if you need that item, things like that.
Yes.
So kind of keeps them going because there is benefit to them. But, I mean, one thing I love about these is the fellowship that we get just hanging out together.
Yeah.
I think it grows
Oh,
a
yeah.
stronger group in our company. You get to learn your employees a little bit better, or employee reaction to each other, kind of the peer stuff. Last night just playing Top Golf. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and to be able to do that and just separate ourselves a little bit from fly fishing for a few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not talking about what's biting. We're not talking about casts. We're not talking about the show and setup and whatnot. We're just having fun playing golf. So we're not playing golf. We're
Easy.
Seeing who doesn't hit the net as many
the
times.
net or
The close net, not the far net.
So, that I really feel like that's a huge benefit, is just get to hang out with some of the people we work with on a day to day, where it is all fly fishing all the time. So it's nice to get out of that a little bit, and even just the ride up. We didn't talk any fishing yesterday. I think on a 6-hour ride in the car, it was all different stuff. So it's nice to, like Dale said, kind of break away from it for a little bit with the people that you spend more time with than your family in a lot of instances.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice
Definitely.
to kind of have that like difference in it.
Yeah.
Which is fun. But it's one of the cool things of it. Something else that we get a positive of this, and I think this is a positive for us, a positive for you guys. Maybe there's a small negative to us. Is we get to bring some gear that we've maybe been holding on to for a little while, and we have to discount it to get rid of it. And you can get some really good equipment at fly shows.
Yeah.
At a reasonable price on some of it, because maybe it's a discontinued item, or it's a shirt that's been in the shop for a little while because it's a odd size, like a small or something, or triple XL, or
That's right.
or something like that. So it's a good opportunity to kind of bring some cash with you or your card, and look for some deals. They're out there. We don't have a lot because we're really critical on our orders, and we try to order as best we can, but there's always a little overflow of something, or maybe it was an item that wasn't super popular because of a color or something like that, but you like whatever red, like that's your color.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
it's a
Apparently
good,
nobody wanted the orange rain jacket from Orvis.
yeah, the rust or whatever.
Rust, yeah.
I can't remember the exact color, but yeah, I like that color.
Yeah.
That's Dale's color.
I get it.
It's burnt orange kind of color.
It is. I love it. I love it.
The bougie burnt orange.
It does it. He likes it for his complexion. So,
Takes the glare off my head.
but yeah, I don't really have much else to say about fly shows.
Hit another button there. I'm gonna get Tim over here from Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers.
Okay.
Talk to him real quick.
All right, we're gonna bring Tim on, hopefully.
All right, y'all. Next time you're browsing online for gear, be sure to bookmark flyshopusa.com. Whether you're looking for waders, boots, or any fly fishing need, you can find it with flyshopusa.com. Don't forget to grab your favorite Tuck Fly Shop logo gear. If it's in Tuck Fly Shop, you'll find it on flyshopusa.com.
All right, is he going to be able to do it?
He's coming. I interrupted him, so I told him to finish this conversation.
Okay.
Is number 4 on? Hey,
yeah, he'll be good.
Pull his chair, lift it up a little bit. Thanks, buddy.
This is on the fly because we're at the show. So,
and this is kind of what's fun about the show. So, I'll go ahead and kind of introduce Tim before he gets here, so he doesn't hear everything I say about him. But Tim Guilfoile is the current president of Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers. So, they are a federation. Was it Fly Fishers International now that they call it?
I think so. Yeah.
So they are based in Florence, Kentucky. So that's just across the Ohio River, the border here from Cincinnati, from Ohio to Kentucky. So, and another great chapter.
Yeah, we went and spoke to them.
Very engaged, very active. They do tons of stuff in the community, and I want to get Tim over here to chat about some of the things they do, some of the specifics, and some of the great things that Tim's got going on. Just such a neat guy. So we'll get him over here in a second. What else can we talk about in the meantime?
That's what's the problem with live shows, is because we didn't plan much because we were hoping to have folks. Here he comes. He's shaking hands.
Here comes the man.
Come have a sit.
We put him on the spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, man. Put your headset on.
Hey, ooh, this is gonna feels good.
Pull that mic up. You just got to talk right into the mic. Oh, he's got to put his ears on.
Put his ears on.
Is the machine on?
Can you hear us?
Oh, I can.
Here, flip this one around.
That one over.
Oh,
There you go.
There. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, just talk right into the front of the mic and you'll be good.
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
Tim, tell us about yourself and kind of who the organizations you're with.
Well, I live in Northern Kentucky. I frequent Western North Carolina, and I know the Tuckasegee fly shops well. They really just outstanding fly shops. They're merchandised really well. The people in the shops know their stuff. Unfortunately, I live in the greater Cincinnati area, and there's not much in the way of fly shops where people really know the sport and the intricacies of the sport. So I like going to North Carolina, and that's where I shop. So I'm with Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers. The role I play, I'm former president, but the role I play right now is director of marketing and communications.
There we go. I'd already promoted you back before you sat down. I'd already promoted you back to president. So.
Nah, I've had.
You're doing double duty now.
I did my 3-year stint.
Good.
Well, I'll tell you a fact that a lot of people don't know, but according to Fly Fishers International, we are the largest fly fishing club in the United States.
No kidding.
Are you really?
That's awesome.
We have about 450 members. Now, there is an FFI club in California, which is a competitive club, right? A casting competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas, we call ourselves a social club with a fly fishing problem.
I like that.
But so for instance, during COVID, we recruited 52 new members,
Oh wow.
and we weren't even meeting.
Yeah.
We had Zoom calls and stuff.
Yep,
That's incredible.
It is.
That is.
And then in 2021, we had 48 new members. And then in 2022, 58 new members.
Wow. Jeez.
And yeah, so we do,
Yeah.
we do a lot of stuff. And I'm also a member of Buckeye United Fly Fishers.
Okay. Yeah.
I lived in Ohio for a while. And so I joined them back.
So
in
it's okay to come across the river. It's not like
You don't need a passport anymore. And but I also run a fly fishing camp in Wyoming.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Plug it.
I will. We're located 8 miles east of the eastern entrance to Yellowstone National Park.
So translation, there's no Topgolf near him.
45 miles west of Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah.
We are right on the North Fork of the Shoshone River, which is a bluestone trout stream.
Yeah.
And you can walk out your cabin and fish.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Probably the best fishing destination in the Rocky Mountains because you got all Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Wind River Canyon and the Bighorn and just literally hundreds of destinations within about an hour and a half to 2 hours of the camp. And we provide all transportation once you get.
Oh,
there.
wow.
So we have vans.
Okay.
And we'll take them, and we don't just drop them off. We'll stay. When the vans are outfitted with coolers, so people can. We have lunch that they can pack, and water. We have our own chef, and we're talking high-end food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prime rib and so on and so forth. 3 hot meals a day. If you don't want to come back for lunch, plenty of stuff to pack lunches. $900 for 7 days and 6 nights, all inclusive, except getting there and back.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people drive. I drive. And then we have encouraged people this year to fly into Billings, Montana, because it's a lot less expensive to fly into Billings than it is to Cody. And we pick you up and take you to camp and back.
That's cool.
How far is it from Billings to the camp?
It's 2.5 hours.
Okay, that's not terrible.
However, The road is right along the Upper Clarks Fork.
Okay.
Okay.
So we intend to stop along the way.
You have to be intentional to get back by dinner.
That's right. That's right. So if anybody's interested, you could just go to anglersbasecamp.org.
Okay.
So just
Okay.
all anglersbasecamp, one word, .org. And my contact information will be there. You'll see all kinds of information about registration and so on and so forth. So
That's awesome. I
It
definitely
is-
want to check it out.
it's the experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, we're set up with Big Sky Anglers over there in West Yellowstone, and we've played around, the Southwest Montana area, Henry's Fork area, and Yellowstone on kind of that, the northern side, western side. But we've never done anything on the west or the east. So it's really intriguing what you've got set up there for sure.
Well, and also we have a charitable purpose. So
Okay.
all of the profits from the camp go back to the Boy Scout camp
Okay.
to improve the camp for the Boy Scouts. So the Boy
Oh,
Scouts
okay.
use this camp in June and July.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
So we take it over in August, and we've worked out a.
Which just happens to be hopper season.
It is unbelievable. Yeah. Plus, the snow melt's gone, and
Right.
Yeah.
the rivers
Weather's more
settle
stable.
down. Yeah.
So how many months are y'all open through the summer? Like when does it kind of open and close?
This year the first week starts August the 6th,
Okay.
and the last week ends September the 9th.
Okay.
Wow.
So it is
So it's
pretty much an exact month.
5 weeks.
Okay.
weeks,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Outstanding.
the second week we have reserved for women and couples.
Okay.
And Susan Thrasher will be there the second week. Susan is a guide from
Yeah.
Nashville, Tennessee area. And just, we have an absolute blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Really.
And the lodging is more of a bunk style, right? I mean, it's a Boy Scout camp, so it's not like you're going to be at the Marriott.
It's not a 5-star hotel or lodge, but there are those kinds of lodges on the way up from Cody,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and they'll cost you between $3,500 and $5,000 for a 5-day week.
So
Okay.
this is kind of opposite. If folks are familiar with our Big Sky trip, this is kind of opposite of what we'd have at that lodge.
So
But it's still-
we have cabins.
Yeah.
And there are bunk beds in the cabins, but we don't put anybody on the top bunks. We
Okay.
reserve that for gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we put 3 to 4 people in a cabin. So there's
Okay.
plenty of room.
Yeah.
We also have rooms in other buildings on the campsite. And so for couples, we can provide privacy with queen beds. And we have a central shower house for the cabins.
Okay.
But some of the other rooms in these other buildings have
Yeah.
more private bathing facilities. So again, it is a Boy Scout camp,
Sure.
but every single person that comes away, and I do a survey every year, they come back.
They have a great time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can't beat the price,
Yeah.
Well, and the cause too.
and the cause, right?
Yeah.
So we provide some of the best fly fishing destinations anywhere at a very affordable price.
Yeah.
And we have a charitable purpose.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's cool. I definitely want to check it out.
Anglers Base Camp.
Is it and you may have mentioned this when you were just talking and I just totally missed it. Did you say it was guided, some of it? Like could you hire a guide or is it all self-guided?
You can, there's 2 fly shops in Cody,
Okay.
Wyoming Trout Guides and North Fork Anglers, or
Okay.
Tim Wade. I don't know if you've heard of Tim, but he used to be on ESPN. But then we have 4 vans, and we will take people anywhere they want to go, and we don't leave them there, right? We don't just drop them off.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
we've had people come that have never fly fished
So
before.
it's like go over there and fish that run and
So, and
walk
and,
up that trail.
and so we're there
Yeah.
with them. There was last year, there was a couple, and they did this because of the charitable purpose. They
Yeah.
they were 80 years old,
Uh-huh.
They hadn't fly fished in 40 years.
Wow.
The man was a retired psychiatrist.
Okay.
And the woman had raised 2 kids and then went to law school and
Oh, boy.
then was a retired attorney. So they came in and we fished with them.
Yeah.
For the whole week. And the woman outfished the man like 10-1.
Yeah.
But
That
they
happened?
had an absolute blast.
That's
They hadn't
awesome.
fly fished in 40 years. So, and we have equipment.
Yeah. Okay.
So you don't need to worry if you don't have equipment. Come on.
That's fantastic.
right.
So before you hopped on the mic, Tim, we were going through fly fishing shows and why they're good for the consumer. Come out, check it out, find out info stuff. This is the exact thing. When you're at a show, these are the things you run across.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, I didn't even know this existed.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And now you've got contact info. You got an idea to start planning maybe for next year or this year or whatever it may be. So those are the type of things that you find at these shows that, aren't always just out there
The
in
value.
plain sight.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So it's the value of
You're
getting
not-
the ticket.
You can find it on Google, but you don't know what to look for if you don't know what to look for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I make the rounds
Yeah.
here too because there's always something new.
That's right.
There's people that I've seen before, haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah.
But I always learn so
That's
much.
it. How
Yeah.
long have you been fly fishing? And you're saying that?
45
There
years.
you go.
Yeah.
You never stop learning.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's a
impressive.
Yeah.
lifelong learning experience.
That's right.
And so I'm retired, and I've never had so much fun.
That's awesome.
And so I do 3 things for a living. One, I'm the director of marketing and communications for Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers. So I do a lot of teaching and a lot of communication with the club and programs. And you guys have been
Yep.
Yeah.
extraordinarily helpful with our programs, get rave reviews. And then the second thing that I do is Yellowstone Anglers Base Camp.
Mhm.
And then the third thing is I am a volunteer horse handler at New Day Ranch in about 20 minutes from where I live.
Okay.
Okay.
And so it's a not-for-profit that uses horses to help kids that have behavioral problems.
Ah,
These
okay.
are not physically handicapped children. These are kids that have, attention deficit problems, anger management problems.
Yeah.
They're suffering from grief. They had a parent die or a brother die or something like that. And so I'm out there 4 mornings a week and working with the horses and feeding them and stuff. And then I'm a horse handler and work with the kids.
That's cool.
So do you find time to fish?
I do.
I mean, that's a
I
lot,
do.
man, for somebody who's technically retired.
Yeah. Well, it's
You're staying busy.
I'm having a ball.
That's good, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, thank you so much for all the efforts and giving back. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I will be back in North Carolina in March.
Okay.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So we'll see you here.
And I'll see all
Month or
3
so.
of your shops.
Awesome. Awesome.
Fantastic.
And I love going to your shop.
Part of our goal for 2023 is we're going to try to start differentiating some of the shops a little bit. So hopefully when you visit all 3, you might see some different things.
Maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. We'll see how
That's
that
good.
works out.
Now, the woman that manages the Bryson City shop.
Uh-huh.
Taylor.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to book a trip with her.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
She was awesome. All of you are awesome, but she just brought something really neat to the table.
She has absolutely. She's done a fantastic job. Loves technical fly fishing, and I think that's complements our staff very well. So
Yeah, she's good.
she's been great.
Absolutely. Well, man, I appreciate
Thank
you jumping
you,
on the
guys.
mic for
I
it.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Fly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
On the
sorry to
fly.
interrupt your conversation.
No. This was fun.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
to
I
see you.
really
You
appreciate
too.
it, Tim.
You take
Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Well, cool.
All right, folks. Well, that's gonna, I guess, conclude this one.
Wrap that one up.
Yeah. So we really appreciate y'all listening, and we'll check back in from hopefully another episode. The next one you listen to will be something a little different here at the show. We're gonna try to grab somebody from Buff, maybe. And like I said, I saw George Daniel get out of his talk, so
Yeah.
if we can wrangle him to come talk to us,
He's a busy man today.
he's a busy man because
He goes from
he's got several talks to give. and
presentation to
stuff.
the casting pond to a fly tying demonstration to a presentation, I think. So
Yeah, so it's one of those where
he's
if we
earning
can-
his keep.
That's it. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to get him. If not, we'll get him another time,
That's
maybe
right.
over the phone or something. But anyways, we appreciate you listening to this episode, and we will check back with you later.
That wraps up another episode of the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon. For more content, visit Tuckasegee Fly Shop's YouTube channel for instructional how-tos, reviews, and more. For fly fishing articles, check out Tuckasegee Fly Shop's blog at tuckflyshop.com. Thanks for listening. Tight lines.